Well, nothing ever goes as you plan it. And I thank everyone for their patience and understanding. It was really my goal to make sure that we had a meeting in January. This has been a project that or something I've been working on since before we were all sworn in. So basically right at the top of the hour, I had already been to the school, met with the principal, and I just gotten back. Well, I was back for a few minutes, and I got a phone call from the principal saying, basically there is some additional steps that I need to take for liability purposes and things like that. And we also had to make sure that there was going to be security at the school, things that I certainly would have expected to have been brought to my attention prior to 2 hours before. I think it took both the principal and I by surprise. But someone learned about this meeting higher up, and she got the call, and of course she notified me of the issue. So that's where we are at this point. I genuinely am very sorry for anyone who has had to go out of their way to attend tonight's meeting. I am grateful for you. I appreciate you understanding the growing pains that are going to come with me taking this over and this endeavor. So thank you very, very much for everyone that's here. Apologize to those who have gone to the school. Let's have a good meeting. My name is Tom Donohue. I am my 12th year living here in Fairlawn. In November, you all voted me to office, and that is a trust that I take with the utmost sincerity and respect. One of my goals in the next 2 years is to really bring up certain kind of like raise the expectation of some as to your level of expectation from elected officials. There are things that I have done. I don't know if some of you may have heard. I took a very personal choice and was sworn in by Robert White a couple hours before everyone else. It was somebody leaked it to the Washington Informer, I think it was. The intent with that was I wanted to make sure that I started my commission the way that I want to run my commission or my single member district, and that is with I just had some personal challenges with the way that everyone else is going to be sworn in by our council members. So that was a personal thing for me, and I hope you understand. But I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to be able to walk the streets. I know some of you probably saw me out on Christmas Day. Look, I don't have much family. I don't have any family here, so you are all my neighbors, but also sort of going to become my extended family. So when I'm walking the streets on Christmas Day, introducing myself, it's because it's better to be out there and doing something than sitting at home. So no, it's really important that I get out and you all see me. I take at least one trip through our area a week, and there are things that I've already taken care of, especially like on Young Street. We had a Jeep that was sitting there forever. We're going to get a new pole light at the end of the street. So these are going to take time, and it's really important that you all know that I'm here for you. I may not have the answers. In fact, I probably won't have the answers. for any question, for a lot of the questions that you may have, but I am dedicated to making sure that I get the answers for you. Um, again, I thank you for entrusting me with this position. I also do want to mention, I like to mention that it is a volunteer position. A lot of times people don't know that that's the case. And so please keep that in the back of your mind. However, I am pretty dedicated to making sure I can assist everyone with as much as possible. And I know that there's a great team. Wendy is there from the mayor's office and various others from the agency, different agencies. So I feel like the support is there, and we're rocking and rolling. So uh, with that said, this meeting is about you guys, meaning I wanted to make sure that we had plenty of time to hear from you. And with that, we're going to do a couple of just a couple of quick topics. We're going to do Keith Jones is I think is probably in. He's with DDOT. He's going to discuss the Minnesota Avenue Southeast bus priority project. Uh, and so we're going to give him the floor for a few minutes and kind of give you a brief overview of what's happening with Minnesota Avenue. And then Michael from National Park Service is on the line. He's going to talk about some changes, some exciting things going on over at Anacostia Park. I don't know about you guys, but I walk the park quite a bit, especially when it's warmer out. And there's some really exciting things that you're going to see coming to the park. I know that for even before I became a commissioner, I was fighting for those lights on the underpass that kept going out, and it made that area really dark. So luckily, I think we've got that fixed, and we'll have constant light under that tunnel because it does really get pretty dark. And then each meeting, I'm hoping to do sort of a resident topic. And we had one of our residents come up, Claire, and express to me, we were talking about the feral cats and how there's a program where you can trap them and then have them neutered and then release them. So bear with me. I just got to send somebody the link real quick. Um, so Claire's going to take a couple minutes and explain to you that process. It's something that I had never heard about, and I find it intriguing. So I thought you guys might help find it intriguing as well. And then after those couple of quick presentations, we're going to open it up to you. I know that a lot of you have written me and sort of talked a little bit about some topics that you wanted to talk about. This meeting is for you, and it's going to sort of set my next 100-day goal by what you guys are sort of saying and directing me towards. Um, and we'll go from there. I'll come up with some goals, and I hope you hold me accountable to it just as much as I'm going to hold myself to them. So, with that said, let's start off. Let's see. We've got doo, doo, doo. Keith Jones I think he is here. Keith. Yes, he is. So Keith, I think you can just unmute yourself and turn your camera on if you want, and go for it. I don't think there's any restrictions. Part of me is I'm getting to know this Zoom thing a little bit better. They've changed this since I've used it for a while, so if Keith is around, let's see. Oh, it's not letting you. Okay, so hold on. Sorry. Let's see. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. Thank you, Keith. Sorry
Great.
about that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Excuse me. And good evening, everybody. Nice to see so many people here. I didn't expect it to be such a large turnout in a single member district. But that's a good thing. I think that's good energy. Um, my name is Keith Jones. I live in 8A03. I'm right across the way. I was formerly 8A01. But of course, with the boundary changes, I got shifted over to 8A03. Another great commissioner over here, Miss Davis, I believe is my new commissioner. But thank you, Commissioner Donohue, for putting this together and for having this evening. I'm about 1 year now in at the District Department of Transportation, also known as DDOT, and I am the Ward 8 Community Engagement Specialist. I was asked to talk about Minnesota Avenue today. I don't know if I can share my screen. Hold on, I'm gonna send you a request, Tom. See if this works. I actually did some printouts for everyone, but of course, I had to scramble as well and try to pull this together. Can I share? Oh, there we go. Perfect. So I'm going to run through this real quick. So as an FYI, this was presented at the ANC meeting, although it was very quick and very late this past a few weeks ago in January. However, we're going to do a full public presentation, meaning the project management team, as well as the engineers will be on that call. On the date will be February 19th. And of course, we'll send you a link, Commissioner, February 19th between 6 and 7 p.m. And they'll go through the thick and rough of this. I'm going to kind of squeeze through it and give you an idea of where we are with the program, with the project. Let me scroll down here. Okay, so right now we are currently, if you look at the third box, we're currently in the initiate design phase. A lot of you all may have heard about this or not. This has been around since about 2022, when maybe at the time Sierra Broderick was the community engagement liaison. We began stakeholder engagement. We reached out to the ANC back then to do a needs assessment and to do some planning and things of that nature. Of course, we did some concept development back in 2022, more presentations about where we were, and now we're finally getting somewhere with the design. And let me go through the design with you all. This is the fun part. So it covers the scope from Marionberry Avenue all the way down to Pennsylvania Avenue. So the project goals are to improve bus operations, increase bus stop access, improve bus reliability and speeds, improve pedestrian safety, and reduce pedestrian crashes at unsignalized intersections. So the elements include some bus priority treatments, some traffic calming on Minnesota Avenue. I've heard a lot about that in my year, and I live here, so I see it every day as well, and some pedestrian safety installments. And in addition to that, we're looking at some green infrastructure and some beautiful streetscaping where we can find to put that in place. Let me scroll down here. So these are the key features from the community feedback we have gotten over the years. So visibility issues, hard to see cross traffic, the confusing intersection we all know about right here at what is that, 18th and Minnesota and R. We know that's very confusing. Dangerous driving behavior, which is unfortunately common around the city. Unsignalized intersections where with constant traffic speeds and lack of safety infrastructure for pedestrian crossing, including school crossings and bus stops, and a lack of bus stop amenities. So we have identified all that, and I'm going to go through kind of a quick show you what we're looking at to do. So the first image shows you, I think it's outside of your SMD, but it's next to it, down there by T Street and 16th Street. Um, so we're looking at first here, the T intersection to reduce turning speeds and expand the pedestrian zone. So this crosswalk, I hope my cursor is showing here. Yeah, that crosswalk there will probably most likely be highlighted and given a better view. So it'll be painted, probably some flex posts to let folks know people are crossing right here. And then, of course, we're going to put in crosswalk improvements with pedestrian island. So an island basically is that little center piece of concrete in the middle of the street where people can stop, to be able to cross the street safely. And what's called an RRFB, which stands for rectangular flashing beacon. So those flashing lights you see at the signs where you can cross that. So folks can actually see someone in a crosswalk, and that's way down on the other end. Over by Minnesota and 16th, looking at center line hardening, which means we're going to paint the ground. This will not be the hard concrete slabs. It'll be paint, so you know which side of the road you're on. We're going to put in a new bus shelter right there, right by that park over there. More flashing signals looking like that on S Street. Another painted median to show the side of the street. And of course, more crosswalk improvements along the streets. There is one proposal outside of this ANC, well, outside of this SMD, to close S Street to vehicular traffic. There's a slip lane, we call it, between Minnesota and 17th. That resident, actually going to reach out to that resident to let her know about this and let her a heads up that it's being proposed, not done yet, in order to help with the traffic flow, basically. And let me go down to the next slide. Make sure I did this right. Whoops. Okay, example of a partial street closure, for example. Whoops, jumping around. There we go. So this is proposed outside of your SMD, but it's what we would put in place, like some planners, something beautiful, when we close partially part of a street. So the intersection here, where we at? Oh, okay, the bus party project. So we also have what's called Q jumps. So if you ever saw those little white lines, like white lights, they have like lines and they have different signals. Those are for buses. And before the light turns green for cars and whoever's on the road, the bus gets a chance to jump in front of the traffic in order to increase the flow of the bus to get them around, the traffic. So we have Q jumps already, I believe, installed in this SMD. I think it's down at Naylor Road, as a matter of fact, Naylor in Minnesota. But proposing more Q jumps along Minnesota Avenue to give the buses the right of way to be able to expedite their process. And let's see. Okay, there's the fun one here. And I forgive this graphic. This was given to me by an engineer. I want to try my best to describe this. In fact, let me zoom in a little bit here. And by the way, this is all available online on our website. I will put the link in the chat for you guys so you can see. You can also give feedback on this online on our website as well. You can submit comments to the engineers and to the project team. But let me try to explain this as best I can, this engineering drawing. So let me zoom out a little bit. Maybe that's too close. Let me go down to 150. Okay, that may work. So this is 18th and Minnesota Avenue. So we're proposing several things here. I'll start up here on the far right hand side. This right here is a painted median. So it's not the hard brick ones. It's when you paint the center line. We're proposing that we paint the median. Stop it. Also proposing that we paint a crosswalk there, right in the middle of the median, so folks can cross safely. Oh, my screen turned back to white. Technology, stop it. Okay, there we go. Maybe I shouldn't highlight it. Also, we're proposing putting in new signals. So right now, as we all know, the light is very long at R Street. It takes forever. Once you get off R Street, you go into this weird looking intersection where the lights are confusing. You don't know where to stop. You don't know when to go. We go through this every day, most of us. So we're proposing that we put in of course, another painted median. So as you go down the road, you can actually know which way you're going. There will be a light installed. These are actually light signals, these little boxes there. There will be a light here, and a pedestrian light here for folks who are crossing. In addition, we're adding in another crosswalk. So right there on R Street, where it's kind of confusing as well, we're going to keep these remaining crosswalks there, but also add in a crosswalk so folks can cross kind of parallel. And on the bottom portion, we have where we're going to mark out, basically creating a turning radius so folks can't park there. Those will be probably flex posts or white painted lines, something to show direction of travel. That is what's important right now. I know that's been the biggest complaint. I see it every day. We see it every day. So making that intersection a little more easier to digest, I guess is the way to put it. And again, this is all available on our website. You can go through it, zoom in, and go through it at your leisure. Let me try to zoom back out real quick there we go. These are examples of crosswalks. So the one I mentioned right here at the top of the screen, it'll be more flat so folks can get across the street. What we've done around the city, Minnesota and 36, and over on 13th Taylor and Michigan Avenue, Northeast, kind of similar to those designs. And then we have other ideas as well as far as traffic. So, for example, what we call daylighting. So we all know you should not park at a stop sign. In fact, DC law says you cannot park within 25 feet of a stop sign, which is why you may see a lot of times DDOT puts things there like flex posts or bike racks, so folks cannot park there because it impedes the line that we call line of sight, meaning if some kid or someone's in a crosswalk and a car is parked at the crosswalk, if there's someone going a little too fast, maybe they'll stop, hopefully in time. That's the point of why we put those flex posts and things at stop signs. So that also would be an idea that's added to this project. And of course, here's an example of a painted median, as I mentioned earlier, those yellow painted medians. And let's see what else we have here. I've kind of already brought up the queue jumps. This is more of a bus priority team thing here that they told me about. So this talks about the proposed locations. So Minnesota and 17th, 18th, 19th, and 22nd. And it's also White and Nicholson Street. They look at the number of combined boardings that's done weekly. They also, I know a lot of folks don't tap. They also factor that in as well. So they know that it's a high ridership corridor. I've taken the bus, the V2, the B2, all the buses that come through here. I will also note that, as you all know, Walmart is going to be renaming buses soon under the Better Bus Network, which is later in the year. So keep an eye out for that. I think that is all that I had regarding that. Here is the project manager for this. Her name is Maya Coleman. I will put all this again in the chat for you guys to be able to link to. And yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Keith. I appreciate you. Keith was actually going to come and introduce himself in person, so I appreciate you. I tried to get it off to everyone as quickly as possible. So I appreciate you kind of working with us there. Does anybody have any questions for Keith while we have him here? I know I've asked him a couple of times to do a couple of things. I know that some people have complained about. Well, I know I have complained. 22nd Street coming down towards that hill that they made that one way right there at 22nd in Minnesota. He's put it gives you like 5 seconds, maybe two cars to get through that intersection. I know that he's put a request in to have that reviewed, and he's replaced the box that was dangling from the pole there to push for it to turn green. Keith, maybe you could explain just briefly about those boxes. Like when you push that button, does it actually do anything? Does it like how does it, what is it, what's the sort of turnaround time that are we actually making it change? I got you. I'm doing it now. I guess it when you
Okay,
go.
yeah, I didn't want to have too much background noise. I muted myself. I didn't know it was going to lock me out. But yes, so generally those are given depending on what part of the city you're in, and you're giving signal priority. Um, I know that it was hanging. We got that taken care of, thank goodness. I will also tell anyone that's on the call while I have you guys here is to always call 311 for literally anything. In fact, I wish I printed this out as well. I don't know if I have it up anywhere. I was going to show you guys a host of what we actually do at DDOT. Oh, actually, I do have it. Here we go. If you guys can see my screen, am I still sharing?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So this is kind of basically what we do at DDOT. So it's a lot. We cover quite a bit. So traffic safety investigations, our TSI request. So those are like basically if you want a speed hump, if you want a camera, those are done quarterly. So we get around 3,000 requests around the city. So we prioritize 800 per year. That's 200 per quarter. I think I sent to you, Tom, a list of locations in ANC 8A and all the folks in the commission here. In fact, I've done all the commissions in Ward 8. So we have a few that were selected. I will note that we do not pave during this time of year because of the weather and the conditions. Our teams are focused more on different things, and the weather won't allow us to pave under, I believe, 32 degrees. So we focus more on signage, more on things of that nature as far as TSIs. As we go into the fall, we'll look at more paving requests, things of that nature. I won't go down the line of all of these. It's quite a bit. I can send you this time actually as well. If you like a copy, this is a long PowerPoint. I'll just give you the slide here. But we handle all these programs. And I know you can always go to 311. In fact, I will put my information in the chat as well, because some things kind of fall in the gray area where they're not quite 311 requests. For example, I had a request regarding a vacant lot that's not technically 311 because they wanted to pave the lot themselves, which requires a permit, which is us. So there are unique cases where you come to us, for example, RPP, residential parking passes, visitor parking passes, things of that nature. We also do urban forestry. So any tree on public space, we will look at. If, you know, I will say I had a neighbor next to my house here who was cutting down a tree in his backyard. And I saw my colleagues pop up. I'm like, oh, what are you guys doing here at my neighbor's house? So they will also investigate private property if the tree is hazardous. In fact, there is a free program in the district. If your tree is found to be dying or having a big issue or maybe a safety concern, if you meet the qualifications for that program, we will cut the tree down for free. A lot of folks don't know that. I will add one more thing we also do with the Highway Safety Office. We give out free car seats. People don't know that. We give out free car seats. You can get a voucher at our DDOT headquarters. We're located at 250 M Street Southeast, right across from the Harris Teeter and across from the DOT office, the federal DOT office. Come down and get a waiver between 9 and 5, or just call me, email me, and we can get that set up for you as well. I'm sure I have more to tell you about, but I'll stop there because we have so much that we that we cover. So I'll just stop there.
Thanks, Keith. You're definitely an asset and has been an asset since I've gotten on board. Appreciate your response and your attentiveness to Ward 8. And there's a couple of questions. Maybe you can,
Okay, yeah,
if
I'll
you want
take
to
it in the
respond to
chat.
them, that would be great.
Got it.
We're
Thank
going to
you.
move on to Michael. Michael, I met Michael virtually or via the phone, really. Recently, I've been looking for the right person to talk to about things happening at Anacostia Park. And I know that since our single member district sort of runs along the gamut of Anacostia Park, I thought that you might be interested in knowing what's upcoming. So, Michael is from the National Park Service, and he's going to give us an update on what's going on at the park. Let me go ahead and unmute him. And there you
Thank
go.
you very much, Commissioner Donohue. I'm really happy to be here with everybody today. Again, my name is Michael Donato, and I'm the Chief of Staff at National Capital Parks East. So we are a portfolio of national parks that includes Anacostia Park, Frederick Douglass National Historic Site, Fort DuPont Park, Siouxland Parkway, mainly on the Maryland side, and many others, 98 parks, 8,000 acres. And so I don't want to take up too much time, but I did want to just share a couple of exciting updates with the community, especially related to Anacostia Park. So the first one, I want to drop in the chat a exciting announcement that we just put out. So we received money through the Great American Outdoors Act to rehabilitate sites throughout Washington, D.C. And I want to highlight that maybe chief among them is a complete rehabilitation of the Anacostia Park Skating Pavilion. We're talking soup to nuts, top to bottom. We're going to be able to resurface, repair the facilities. We're looking at new concessions and refreshments opportunities. So just completely rehabilitating the entire structure, the restrooms, fixing the piping so that for those that skate over there, you know how there's dirt and mud that kind of piles up on the sides because it doesn't drain right. So we're going to be able to fix the draining. So we're really excited with that. And through the same project, actually, I'm just going to run through a list. I dropped a link in the chat with some of the basic information and a list of sites that are going to be rehabilitated. But many people love the pirate ship playground over on Nicholson. So that's going to get a rehab. Don't worry, it'll still be a pirate ship. We're also going to be redoing, many of y'all might remember that in November 2023, 3, the playground next to the pool next to the rec center was burned down in an arson incident. And so we will be replacing that playground with a brand new playground. And we will be resurfacing the tennis courts next to the pool and rec center, and installing. We're actually going to expand the pavement a little bit and install pickleball courts. So right now there are 9 tennis courts, although I admit that 2 of the nets are so broken that really there's only 7 tennis courts. And so the new design, as I said, just slightly expanding the footprint of the courts, will allow us to have 7 full-time devoted tennis courts and 8 full-time devoted pickleball courts. So that's going to be really awesome. As I said, those 2 nets have been broken for quite some time. So even though there are 9 tennis courts normally, there really only been 7 usable lately. And this is going to allow for the addition of 8 new pickleball courts. There's not a lot of pickleball courts in Southeast DC. And so having that number, the ability to hold tournaments, things like that, is going to be really a great benefit to the community. Other things, we're doing a lot of work, well, I guess still in Anacostia Park, but on the north side, up near Benning Road and River Terrace area, we're redoing the playground, the pavilion, and the tennis courts and basketball courts there. We're redoing all the picnic areas in Fort DuPont Park. So that's Randall Circle, Lanham Estates, and Ridge Road, which is an area of the park that many of you may have even forgot existed because it's been closed for over 6 years. But through this project, we're going to be able to reopen that entire section of Fort DuPont Park. And that's just to name a few. This is a tremendous benefit coming to the community. And we had literally just announced it like a couple days ago. You can monitor our website, nps.gov/NACE, for updates. And please know that your commissioner, Commissioner Donohue, is on our distribution list for anything that will affect Anacostia Park or the community. In addition to the LRF project, and again, I dropped a link in the chat with some information about that project. And I see somebody has a question. Let me respond to that before I move on. Will there be improved garbage and recycling options in the park? Every summer weekend, the park is overwhelmed. There's trash everywhere Monday morning. Closed bins would be ideal so trash doesn't get blown around. Miss Snyder, you are dead on. You are absolutely right. As a matter of fact, every single Monday morning from like spring through fall, we pull almost every maintenance worker we have to go out and try to pick litter on Monday morning. And those are maintenance workers, carpenters, and electricians that could be fixing other issues, but instead are picking up litter. And so we are definitely aware of that issue, and hoping to roll out some new systems. We experimented with some different ideas last year, and one that seemed to work, and we're looking to see if we can do again, is actually handing out additional trash bags and then designating where you can dump them, like having like a dumpster or something. So that should, we saw that actually saw a significant decrease in the little small litter, cans and bottles and things like that, but we're just kind of blowing around. So if we hand out trash bags, people seem to tie them up and then we can come and pick them up. It's a bit easier. But yes, litter is definitely on our mind. Looking at new trash cans and new locations is on our mind. We don't have any plans to implement it at this exact moment, but we're going to be gearing up as we get ready for the spring and summer, and I'll be sure to bring that back. And I see another question. Continue the pavement from the stop sign south to the underpass of the bridge. I mean, coming from South Cap Street underpass. Oh, under the Frederick Douglass Bridge. So probably not. Will we? So the question is, will we continue? If you go along Anacostia Drive near Poplar Point to the, I guess, south and east, under Frederick Douglass, it turns to gravel right there as you approach the fence with Joint Base Anacostia Bowling. So the area right under that bridge, like where it kind of turns to gravel, I don't anticipate that we would pave that in the near future, for a couple of reasons. One, that DDOT has some jurisdiction down there, so there's a bit of a cross there. Two, there is the recently, I think recently announced Poplar Point environmental assessment. So I think that's kind of coming down the pipe. So we don't have any plans to pave that gravel area. Pet trash cans or a dog park. So I'm going to go to Ms. Jones next. Great question. So yes, people use the park with their pets, and trash cans specifically for pet waste with a lid on it to keep the smell in. That's a great idea. I will bring that up in our next conversation. Dog parks is also a great question. And Commissioner Donohue actually asked it. He was already proactively thinking about this. So the National Park Service has a regulation that all dogs must be on leash, and that leash can be no longer than 6 feet. And so we don't have an ability that's in like federal law, like beyond what we set locally. And so a dog park where you have your dogs off leash is just not a legal option, basically, for the National Park Service, because we have this kind of big overarching National Park Service law that we can't override. So unfortunately, we won't be able to do any dog parks. To Ms. Reingold, hoping to get an update on the 11th Street Bridge project. Yes, so the 11th Street Bridge project is progressing. Of course, that is the Building Bridges Across Rivers. That's a nonprofit group that we partner with, but it's not a National Park Service project. My understanding is they're in like kind of finalizing stages of figuring out where they're going to set up, things like that, but they're kind of getting their final permits, and everything seems to be moving forward as expected. I think what I heard was that they were hoping to break ground in 2025. So I don't know when that would happen, but that's my latest update on that. So great questions in the chat. I'm going to pivot away because I did want to talk about one other thing before I relinquish the floor. And that is our Black History Month special event programming. So obviously we steward National Capital Parks East stewards some amazing sites, including the Frederick Douglass National Historic Site, the Carter G. Woodson Home National Historic Site, Mary McLeod Bethune Council House National Historic Site. And while those three sites, preserve the story of these iconic and honestly heroic Americans, all of National Capital Parks East sites have tie-ins to Black history. And so as a group of national parks, we have a series of events that are going to be going on. So we are expecting the first one to be this upcoming Saturday, a Walk with Woodson project, Walk with Woodson program, which will happen up in Northwest, kind of near Logan Circle at Mary McLeod Bethune's house. We have Frederick Douglass's birthday. So it's Frederick Douglass's 207th birthday this year. So on February 8th at Martha's Table from 10 to 2, there will be a Douglass birthday celebration. It's super kid friendly, so bring kids. There will be shuttle buses from the Metro. And there will also be weekly tours at Mary McLeod Bethune Council House National Historic Site and Fort Washington Park out in Maryland. So lots of programming to celebrate, African American history and celebrate the stories of Carter G. Woodson, Mary McLeod Bethune, and Frederick Douglass. So I will, those were my major updates. I will leave my email in the chat. I will also drop the U.S. Park Police number in the chat. In case you ever have an emergency of any sort in Anacostia Park or any of the other national parks in Washington, D.C., you can call that number. That dispatch is actually based in Anacostia Park, and they have a station in Anacostia Park. So they're usually pretty responsive if you have a need. So I will go ahead and do that. And I see there's another question in the chat. And just if there's any other questions, just drop them in the chat. Are you going to increase parking because all those pickleball players will be driving over here? Yes, that's a great. We are anticipating that is going to draw people in. I was told by somebody from the Pickleball Association of DC that those are the only, when we install them, those will be the only pickleball courts in Ward 7 or 8. I don't play pickleball, so I don't know if that's true, but if it is, we're really proud of that fact and very excited. So,
Carol, aren't you like the president of the association? No, just kidding. Um, Michael, thank you so much. Yeah, you came through for me again, and I appreciate the fact. I love the enthusiasm that you have about the things that are happening, and that's always a really good thing to get us excited about it as well. So, if there's any additional questions, I'm sure that he'll take a second to address them. I do want to keep us moving, and like I said, what I'd like to do is these meetings are, of course, about you. And so let me see how to. Um, mm. And so what I'd like to do is make sure that we have a monthly sort of resident topic. And I recently had the opportunity to talk to one of my neighbors, literally just down from where I used to live, Claire, and we were talking about the cats, and she got real passionate about what she's been doing, and I never knew that this even could happen. So I'm gonna unmute her, and I don't know if wants to come on, but she is now unmuted.
Hi,
And
Tom. I'm here.
awesome, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm Claire, and I've lived in this neighborhood since 2016. And first of all, sorry, thank you, Tom, for being our commissioner. I think he's been doing a great job so far, and we need somebody really empathetic and caring. And this has been an awesome meeting, amazing speakers. And my husband was here as well and learned a lot and was just texting some questions on my behalf, on our behalf. So we've been in the neighborhood since 2016. Always been happy, a little concerned with some of the litter. We've sort of covered some of that in the park. Another issue that I just wanted to raise was the issue of a lot of strays and then breeding kittens. Each female unspayed cat can have 4 to 6 litters a year, I believe, every couple months. And, a typical litter is like 4 to 12 cats. So we're talking about, a pretty big problem left untended. They do suffer out there. It's really cold. It's really, really, really hard conditions. And don't kid yourself. They're definitely suffering. But I would just say, that's not the only reason we should care. We should also care because behind a lot of these cats is a person, probably a person that maybe couldn't afford to keep their pet or couldn't afford to feed their pet. And so I can say from my own experience recently that taking an interest in an animal has also led me to a person. So for example, there's a lady that lives on, what is it, Tom, 22nd, right? 22nd.
Yep.
And she's probably in her 90s. She's all alone. I had taken an interest in a cat that was in the vicinity of her house, and I came to learn a little bit about her story and the fact that she cared for it, but she couldn't really afford to feed it. So I'm currently providing her food, and I bought her a cat house. And not to say we should all do that. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I'm saying is there are humans behind these animals. And it is a good way to get to know our neighbors as well. But what I would ask of everybody, in terms of sort of starting from the lowest level of commitment to the most level of commitment, number one, please, if you're going to have a pet, spay or neuter it, and encourage your neighbors and friends to spay and neuter. Do your best not to abandon the pet. They count on you. And then I would say the next level up would be to participate in this trap, neuter, spay, and release program. So I started doing it basically in a nutshell. The Humane Society will, for free, spay and neuter stray cats. They will also provide the traps. And it's not actually that hard. You just put the trap out and put some food in it. The strays are so hungry, they'll 99% of the time wander into the trap. The trap will close, so you never have to handle the feral cat, because let's just be clear, they are feral animals and they can bite and potentially carry a risk of rabies. But with these traps, you don't have to ever come into contact with them. And then you basically bring them over to Oglethorpe Avenue, which is where they do the spay and neutering. And you would be responsible for picking up the animal, and it needs to be indoors for 24 hours, which raises a lot of challenges because not all of us obviously want a feral cat in their house. So if anybody's interested, especially people with garages that can perhaps, a garage is an ideal spot because the cat has to be indoors for 24 hours before it can be released. But the idea is that you would re-release it into the neighborhood that it came from. It goes back on the street where it came from. And that way, I guess what I'm saying is we can't end all the suffering. We're not going to get the ones that are on the street necessarily homes or into a better situation, but we can stop the cycle by participating in this program. So that would be on the higher end of the commitment side. So that's about all I have to say. I'm happy to take your questions. I know a little bit about the program. I've been participating for the last few months. It's gone pretty well. We've successfully trapped and released about four of them now, and I could really use your help. And sometimes just I didn't always notice them for a long time, and now I do. Something changed in me, and it's just a problem I want to solve. And I think it could be really good for our community. It could be, in fact, a way to come together. So that's all I have. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Claire. I appreciate it. I know that it was a fascinating conversation because I was like in awe. I just didn't realize that this was a program that was offered. So thanks, Claire, for bringing it up. And I encourage any of you that have a topic that you want to discuss. This is your meetings. I briefly also wanted to discuss our current commission meetings. One of my goals is to really sort of help corral our commission to be able to put out an agenda and matters that were going to be discussed in advance. And my goal here is to have our hold on 1 second. My goal here is to sort of get the agenda that's going to be discussed at our next meeting to me before this meeting, so that I can actually go over what's going to be discussed at our commission meeting and engage with you about those topics. Too often does our commission sort of just add things to the agenda or not know what's going to go on. And I'm not criticizing them, but I'm going to try to help shape this so that way we can have discussions about what's actually happening in our community, what's not happening in our community. Our single member district meetings are going to be very important, and it's going to be, I am really sort of encouraged and challenged at the same time to be able to get the information that's going to be discussed at our full commission meetings and discuss them with you. I do not want to be in a position, and nor do I think it's my position, to make decisions without your input. So it's gonna take a little while to encourage it. I'm also going to be requesting that our commission stop doing just virtual meetings. We are elected officials. We are responsible to the public, and I think that, in my personal opinion, that the public has a right to be able to go to a meeting site and actually see our commissioners and the people that represent them. In the same breath, if for some reason a commissioner needs to do their part from their home or virtually, I'm going to be asking just simple things like if you're attending our meeting virtually for some reason, then you need to have your video on. We need to be able to know that you're there the entire meeting. We need to know that you're listening to what's happening. These are just small things that I think will make our commission a lot stronger and better. And I think just a little bit of a sort of a shove in that direction. And one of the things that you're going to continue to see and hear from me is about transparency and accountability. I would expect and ask that you hold me accountable and make sure that I'm as transparent as possible. As much as I will request that of our full commission. So as this process moves forward and we have the opportunity to sort of look at these different matters, I'm hoping to bring a lot more accountability and a lot more transparency to our commission, to the residents. It's going to take a little bit of time and maybe a little bit of challenge, but I think that these are steps in the right direction, and I'm hoping that our commission will move in that direction. With that said, I'm grateful that most of you are still here with us. Thank you very much for that. I can tell you that I am nervous as hell tonight. I've been planning this and seeing this meeting in my head for a couple of weeks now. But I'm also, pretty straight shooter for the most part. And I'll be honest. I never, ever thought that I would ever run for public office. So I have no desires to run any further. However, this taking care of people is kind of cool, actually. I had an 85-year-old call me at like 8:30 a week and a half or two ago, needing help. And at this point I had only been sworn in for a week, but I listened to him and told him that I would get find out what resources were available for him, and that I promised him that I would call him by the end of the day. And so I'm grateful that this man turned to me to ask for help, and that I brought all the full swing of every agency I could think of to helping this person out. This is what we do as a community. This is what we do as neighbors. I really want us to come back to a community again. Like as I said at the top of this meeting, I went out and was walking the streets on Christmas Day. My family, my mom is, unfortunately, my dad recently passed away. My mom is down in Florida. And so I have nothing else, nobody else here. So you guys are my sort of my extended family. And I take that seriously. And I don't just say that to say it. I say it too because I also feel like it's important to humanize ourselves and where we are, and understand that I too understand challenges. And so I'm here to help. I may not always have the right answers right away, but I think as time goes on, you're going to see that I will fight for people as much as I can and for as long as possible. So with that said, I would love the opportunity to open the floor. If anybody, let me see how to do this, wants to raise their hand, I can start calling on folks. Again, this is going to be much more of a sort of a listening session. I'm probably not going to have necessarily answers for you, but I do have one of our fellow residents, Ms. Campbell, is taking some notes for me, and I appreciate that and her assistance. I know the last couple of days, if you've gotten a flyer on your car or on your door, or it was really cold out the last couple of days. So I'm glad that you all are here, and we do have some hands raised. So Miss Hudson, let me remove my thing and unmute you, and you have the floor.
All right. Good evening. And thank you, Commissioner Donohue. Good evening to everyone here who's listening. Aisha Hudson. I am a proud Washingtonian. And my connection right now to Ward 8 is we have a new development on 22nd Street. We had our ribbon cutting in October, and we're looking forward to opening our doors to new residents, specifically for our program called the Steward Program. The Steward Program is aimed to house people who are interested in community development, as well as emotional intelligence and conflict management resolution training. We're going to have them to live in our building while we prepare them for real estate ownership. The Steward Program is a 24 to 30 month program that's designed to have participants walk alongside a development that they will then purchase at the end of the program, as well as get credit counseling, home ownership readiness, and then we also throw in the social emotional learning, which is the conflict management and emotional intelligence. We also provide food access training through our community partners. And so I just wanted to announce that to the community. We are looking to do more outreach so the program can build traction. We are a small, intimate 9-unit with a learning space at the bottom, and our community partners that have already signed up are willing to come to the property to lend their expertise while we develop my grandparents' land in Kenilworth. The land in Kenilworth, once developed, our participants will buy that property. So again, Aisha Hudson, my nonprofit is called Community Stewards, and the program is called the Steward Program. I'm going to drop my information in the chat if anybody wants to reach out or has questions or wants to help. Always welcome help. Thank you, Commissioner, and good evening again to everyone.
Ms. Hudson, it was a pleasure meeting you. I kept getting these phone calls from some of our neighbors. What is going on in the middle of the street? What's going on? There's so many people out there. She had a ribbon cutting, welcoming all of us into this building. The units are actually really nice. I had the opportunity to walk through them and to meet her, and I'm glad that she is a part of our community, and the things that you're doing in your nonprofit are amazing. It sounds exciting. So welcome to, I guess I can say, because I mean, I used to live on the Prouton 22nd, and there's a question about where on 22nd. It's basically really at the intersection of Prouton 22nd. And so it's a new development that kept me up at, well, anyway, no, but it was a very exciting day to see her and her family and her brother, and their family is a family of first responders, and so thank you for your service and your brother's service, and we appreciate and love having you in our community. So congratulations on your achievements, and looking forward to 9 new neighbors. But I know it's right down the street from Carol. Carol, it's just a couple doorsteps from you. So we'll have to, she's got a couple parking spots in the back, right? I think. All right. Because I know that's the next thing coming. All right. So Zoe, thank you, Ms. Hudson. I appreciate it. Thanks again. Zoe, I know you had said about you wanted your hand up. So go you. Oh, wait, I have to unmute you. I'll get used to this, guys. And there you go.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks. Yeah, I couldn't find the raise my hand feature, although I'm on Zoom all the time. But yeah, I just wanted to pop in and say hello, everybody. My husband and I have been in the neighborhood now, in this particular neighborhood for like 8 months now. Love it. A lot of things I love about it. The one thing that we do not love, and I know, I think Tom and I ran into each other and talked to each other briefly about this before, but the trash near the storage place is crazy. I mean, if you know, like on Fairlawn, it's just, honestly think it's worse now than it's been ever in the past 8 months. So I just feel like people just come to the storage place and I don't know, like, just like dumping all their trash out there. It's bags of trash, it's scattered trash. So I was just hoping, I did call 311 like less than a week ago. So they said that they were going to come through, survey it, look at it, then send somebody out to collect said trash. But yeah, just wanted to put that on the radar. I know maybe it already is. People know about it, but I had to say it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thanks for bringing that up, Zoe. So that has been on my radar. I had actually put a 311 request in. They are notorious for telling you that it's been addressed. And so that in combination of the actual trash in the back of the storage place. I had a fellow neighbor of ours had an incident or an issue with the storage container place. What used to be called Cube Smart is now called Smart something. But anyway, so I took a trip over there yesterday. The reception was interesting. They have got a roll-off dumpster. There's a significant amount of trash in the back of the storage container, storage place. So I have left my number and have requested their upper management or their next level management to get in touch with me. And so following up with the trash on Fairlawn, there is with my own 311 request because I think they had said that it was completed. And I don't think it was, or it was, and there's trash back up again pretty quickly. So thank you for bringing that up, and it's definitely on my radar. I'll follow up with it as well. Let's see. I used to clean up. One of the things that I do want to bring up is 22nd Street. We have a property at 1409 22nd Street. This is that old Victorian sort of type house that was there. I know that some of you know the details of the family, and I know they were there for a while, and then they went up for auction. And right now, as far as I know, this property is intended to turn into a 42-unit building without any parking. As far as there's no underground parking from my understanding. And so there's a fence that's been erected in the front and the back of the property. One of the neighbors has had some issues with them, so we're staying on top of that. This is going to continue to be a challenge as the months and years go on. Just know that things with these types of things, when you make a complaint and they don't address it, it just takes time. Unfortunately, it has to go through an administrative process, but I want to make sure that everyone feels safe. This is also the area in which 16 people, or I should say there were 16 incidents of people being robbed at gunpoint on 22nd Street, on Prout Street. Literally, I unfortunately was one of the victims of that individual. And it was happening anytime, like in the morning, in the afternoon. There was he was just literally walking up and down the street, just waiting for somebody to come. So it's this particular situation is challenging because I'm afraid that it could get swept under the carpet a bit. I don't know what's going on. They had arrested somebody, and then I voiced concerns that they had released that person on a GPS, but he never went to go to get the GPS, and then they dropped the charges against him, and they then arrested somebody else due to some DNA evidence. And this second person that they have arrested, they haven't charged with any of the 16 incidences of armed robbery. However, they continue his case over and over and over again. It's probably 8 or 9 times that they've continued it without moving forward with it at all. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but there are 16 of us that are victims that have a right to be heard. That they have certain rights, and when the MPD sort of groups charges together and doesn't charge an individual with particular crimes, for instance, 16 different crimes, if they only charge them with 5, then only those 5 are have that the right of the victim. So when you're a victim of a crime, you do have the right to make sure you have influence. You have the right to be present when he's being sentenced and have your voice be heard and things like that. But if they don't necessarily officially charge him, but they sort of wrap that case up along with the others, those victims lose their rights. So that is definitely in the back of my mind as these cases move forward. Let me just see if I can catch up a bit. On the 2200 block of Prout Street, and the trash is constantly terrible on the one side of the street. So the 2200 block of Prout Street, you've got the sort of apartment building on the corner. Oh, that's 2200. Yeah, on the corner, and then the school on the other side. Which side of the street, Ms. Hart, are you referring to? Are you talking about the school side or the sort of building on the corner, the opposite? Okay. Yeah, and so, oh, sorry. Oh, I do see it. Thanks, Brian. I'll be right with you. Uh, that you're right. One of the things that I'd like to work with the school, it doesn't hurt as they're coming down their side to collect, also to pick up the trash that that sort of the traffic from the school has left on that side, and then of course it becomes a big wind tunnel. So everything that starts at the end of Prout just like sort of sweeps or winds down the street and ends in that corner too. But maybe we can work with the school to ask them to sort of keep an eye on the trash as well. Brian, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. You are now unmuted. We'd love to hear what you have to say, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Commissioner. I'm Commissioner Brian Glover in Ward 7, 7C01, and the president of the Deanwood Citizen Association. I received your email from the old ANC office, so I just wanted to give you support in your first meeting. This is my second term as ANC commissioner, so congratulations. I need to grow up to be like you. You have 30 people in your single member district, and I went to every house when I first became a commissioner, and I did not have this many people turn out. This is wonderful. This is great. And Zoe, hello. Her and I, we used to work together. We're educators. Hi, Zoe.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that support. As you know, it's a little scary. I'm sort of kind of glad that we went to virtual because I didn't have to. I know some of you were all planning to come to Kramer, and that made me even more scary. I know Carol was coming, and I was like, it was scary. I was scared, but I'm very happy to do what I'm doing, and just know that I'm a fighter. So I'm not going to sit back and watch things that shouldn't be happening happen. So please understand that when I voice my voice, first you're going to notice that anytime I speak, and this has just been how I always have been, I always back up what I have to say. So I have the letters or whatever to go along with it. I'm never going to not say something. I want to make sure that what I say, people take to heart and understand that what I say is truth. And so, but I always have some sort of backup to prove the things that I say. So just know that there is a behind the scenes strong arm effort to make sure that I'm heard and also taken seriously. I think that sometimes can be a challenge, but with your help, I think that you'll know that my heart's in the right place, and my intention is in a good place, and that frankly, we can become. I strongly believe that this commission can become one of the most respected commissions in DC, and especially in Ward 8. So just bear with us. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I'm really excited about the future. Do we have any other, and again, I should also say, and I'm so sorry, thank you. I'd love to know how you learned about this, the meeting, if it was me seeing you on the street, or whether it was the flyers. What was successful? Because the flyering, I didn't get to everyone. I started on my end because I know most of the people, and then I sort of worked in, and then yesterday I went to the far end of and I worked in, and then I think some people in the middle were lost, but I'm working on it, and so I'm also curious as to what other topics do you want me to address in the coming months. My goal from this meeting is to hear from you, and also sort of form my next 100 days and my goals of what I want to see happen based upon your concerns. So what I'm hearing so far is trash, and I so totally agree. They don't do street cleaning during the winter, so we may have to help, sort of put up with that for a little bit longer. But as it starts to get warmer, I hate our streets looking like trash, and so I live by 311. And if you haven't used 311, I highly recommend you do. It is very successful, and it's very rare that the things that you report aren't there. Plus, you get to follow it. So if you haven't used 311 or called 311 before, they have a program for pretty much everything, whether it's trash or if you are elderly and you need help with shoveling your sidewalks, please let me know. There are people out there that help our elderly, with those types of tasks. So please keep that in mind. It's 8:30. Wow. Okay, so I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I definitely want to hear of any other concerns or good things, bad things, things that we should keep on the radar for maybe the coming months. Traffic, stop signs, things like that. Cars that have been parked. I just had a Jeep removed on Young Street. Commissioner, do you have any information on the wellness center? If not, the next meeting. Yes. Yes and no. I will acknowledge the fact that are we talking about the wellness center by Kramer, behind Kramer, or on the near the Kramer property? Yeah. So it's still on par. They to go in. I don't know what the timing on it yet is. I know that there's been some concerns about kids versus elderly, and how that sort of interaction could go, and those types of concerns. I'm certainly open to hearing others' thoughts on the wellness center, so that I can properly offer that. The other thing is that we are currently underway with oversight committees. So if if there's an issue that you have with a particular agency in the district, and you want to testify, please let me know. I can let you know what dates that particular oversight committee is meeting so that you can be heard or maybe even submit written testimony. So if there is something like that, please don't hesitate to let me know. Again, I want to thank everyone for your patience for tonight. Literally was getting ready for a 5:30 call with our commission leadership, and got the 5:06 call that said your planning that you've just done for the last couple of weeks just imploded. So for those that did head out to the school, thanks for coming back and joining us. And thanks for your understanding with that. Am I not hearing of any other? Thanks, everyone. I don't even congratulate. This is about you guys, and I will tell you one thing. It was pretty cool to see my name on the ballot. I'll be honest that I had, again, never thought that would happen. Unfortunately, just days before, I was heading to a MPD. They have an 8-week program where you'll learn the different sort of aspects of MPD, and I thought that was important for me to go through as a commissioner-elect at that point. To better understand both perspectives on different things. And I was heading to the cadet, where the cadets train, the academy. And for those of you that are familiar with this road, I was on a bike and I was coming down the hill and somehow lost control of the bike, slid about 20 feet or so on my stomach, and I had a big puffy coat on, but I broke 5 ribs at the end of October. So it was unfortunate that I was not even able to vote for myself because I was not able to vote. I was in the hospital literally. And so that was sort of heartbreaking, but I did watch the results come in, and I was very honored and appreciative that you guys trust me in representing you. So I was trying to stall a little bit to see if there was any other hot topics that anybody wanted to discuss. Before everybody leaves, I will also put my email address and and let me know, like, how did you hear about this meeting? Because it's also important for me to know what's effective in getting information to you as well. So hold on a second. Okay, whoever's calling, I'll call you. But I'm going to put my email address in the chat box. This is recorded, and I will post it onto my Facebook page. If you have not liked me, that sounds so weird, on my Facebook commissioner page, it's facebook.com/Commissioner Tom Donohue. This is a place where I will share a lot more things of like little things that may help you or affect you, but not necessarily crowd it in some newsletter. My goal is to provide you a monthly newsletter, and my goal was to do these meetings every 4th Tuesday of the month. I sort of thought I had a plan in place as far as we were going to do it, but that has to be reevaluated. I will keep everyone informed as that changes. Okay, and so meeting announcement on the Ring app. Oh, the Ring app. Okay, great. Good to know. Topics, platform, key terms. Awesome. Again, my goal is to just keep it short as I'm talking long, I'm sure. But the people who are speaking, maybe 1 or 2 topics, and then turn it over to you guys and let you guys tell me what's important to you. So I'm gonna go ahead and if there's not any other. Oh, yes. So I did get a kind of a thank you for that, Susan. So yes, it is moving forward. I know that it was before the zoning board. I will put that on the topic for next month, and have a little bit more information. But I do know it's slowly moving forward. I know there are some concerns about the kids being or, in the vicinity of possibly our older folks, our older generation, and making sure that everybody is safe and stuff. So I'm open I want to hear from you guys. So any concerns or anything, but I'll have a more of a like a program or an actual topic of discussion on that in February. If you have any other topics, please let me know. And I thank you very, very, very much. I feel so much better. This is over, but my phone is always open. You call me at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know how responsive I'll be, but I will try to answer it as much as possible. If there is an emergency in our community, you betcha I will probably be there. If there's a fire, if somebody is shot and killed, unfortunately, please know I'm coming. I will probably be there. This is where I think is most important. And I may call and rally you all together to help one of our neighbors if need be. But this is the neighborhood that I envision us to have, one that's caring about each other and being there for each other and doing whatever we can to make sure that our community and our neighborhood is as best as it can. And yes, we are going to plan a block party, if at least one, coming. So y'all better get out on the street and have some fun, and let me know when you think is the best time to do that. So with that said, thank you everyone. Thank you so much. And I look forward to hearing from everyone. Take care.